Good morning, Year 2. Your learning for today is about how to recognise half of something. So let's get started. The anchor question I want you to think about is how many parts do I have if I split something in half? So if you want to pause the video and talk to somebody, that is fine, but think about how many parts you will have if you split something in half. And the answer is 2. If you split something in half, you would have 2 equal parts. So let's get started. Which donut is split into 2 equal parts? Let's look at donut number 1. It's split into 2, but they are not equal. This part is much bigger than this part. Donut number 2 is split into 2. But again, they're not equal. It is very, very close, but this part is slightly bigger. Donut number 3 is split straight down the middle, and the 2 parts are equal, which means it's split into 2 equal parts, into half. And then this donut, donut number 4, is split by a curved line, which is okay, but it is not in 2 equal parts. The bottom part of this donut is much bigger than the top part. Now looking at some shapes and some objects. Looking at my rectangle, I want to know if it has got 1/2 shaded. The first thing I need to look at is if it's split into 2 equal parts, which it is. And to have half shaded, it just needs one of those 2 equal parts to be shaded like this. So my rectangle has got 1/2 shaded. Looking at the pentagon, it's split into 2, but they are not equal because if you look, this white section is much bigger than the orange section, so it has not got 1/2 shaded. Now let's look at these. I've got 4 counters. 2 of them are shaded orange. Now we know that to have half, you need 2 equal groups. So I've got my 2 groups. I've got my orange counter group and my white counter group. And there are 2 in each, which is 2 equal parts. So therefore, there are half shaded in my counters. Finally, my sheep. I've got 2 sheep, my 2 equal groups. One of them is yellow, one of them is white. So half of my sheep are shaded. Eva wants to colour half of this rectangle. So to help her, she draws this vertical line down the middle and splits it into 2 equal parts. And to shade half, she just needs to shade in one of these sections. Oh, I've gone a little bit over there. That's okay. So then Amir comes along and he draws a horizontal line across the middle there. Just bring it down slightly. So he draws this line down. Okay. Is half of the rectangle still shaded? It is, because the amount of the rectangle hasn't changed. He has now just got 4 parts to look at instead of 2. A bit like when we looked at our counters. 2 out of the 4 were shaded. 2 out of the 4 parts of my rectangle are shaded. So half of it is still shaded. Is half of this rectangle shaded? So think about it. Looking at this rectangle, you've got 2 out of the 4 shaded, and here I've got 2 out of 4. It does not matter what parts you shade as long as it is equal groups. So I've got 2 white and 2 blue out of 4. And the same with this rectangle. I've got 2 blue and 2 white. So both of these rectangles have got half shaded. Only half of my shape has been drawn. Where could my other half be? So I've got the other half of my shape here, and I'm going to join it on here to make a rectangle. Now I know that it could be here because if I split my shape down here, they are two equal parts, because if I put it on top, it is exactly the same. It could also go here because the same happens here. If I split it down the middle, I've got two equal parts. It could also go here for the same reason, and it could also go here. Well done if you had a go and got that right. So, your questions today. If you are doing bronze, you will need to answer these questions. So your first two, you've got to tick some images. The second two, you need to decide which statements, A, B or C, describe the shapes. And then for question 3A and 3B, you need to sort the images into which of them show one half and which do not show one half. Silver, you are doing questions, that should say 1 to 4. So you are doing questions 1 to 4 on the silver and gold sheet. So you just need to answer these. You've got some tick questions, some colouring questions. I want you to try really hard with these. Question 4, okay? Gold, you are doing 5 to 8. So you've got to colour half of these squares, but I want each square to look different. Question 6 is just like what I've done, drawing half of my shape. So you need to draw the missing half, making sure it looks exactly the same. You need to draw a cross halfway along each of these lines. And for question 8, you need to see if Tommy's correct, but I also want you to explain it. So you can talk, it says talk to a partner, but you can talk to a brother or your sister or your mum or dad or whoever. And platinum, you have got some questions on this sheet. You've got to tick the images that show a half, again like the others, find the statement, and then you've got a nice problem here. You need to convince me who is correct. If you've got any questions, just email me or Miss Smith and we will be able to help you. Enjoy your challenges.